hard to see outside of a bus that has a wrap on it. There's the sign up there that says where we're at. Damn, almost forgot to pull the string. Oh man, that was a long time to get right here. So it's 6:35 p.m. Sunday, July 24th, 2022. Amazingly, the 17 West got here to 79th Avenue only about 8 minutes late. At one point, I think it was running 12 minutes late. I want to say around like 19th Avenue-ish. So definitely made good time on the... once it got on the other side of I-17, I made good time once it got on the other side of 17. So in the time that I was on it, it had to load. Actually, not the time I was on it. Before I was able to get on it, of course, I had to load the wheelchair that was sitting there with the occupant coughing before I got on the bus. So yeah, that was a good 5-6 minutes additional minutes I had to stand outside sweating because he didn't open the door for me until after he got her boarded, got her completely boarded, and got her secured and whatnot, and then finally decided to open the door for me. Which, like, I get that the disabled people that are in wheelchairs do need to be, there's a little more involved in boarding them, and I'm not saying they need to be denied service, but goddamn, it's nearly 100 degrees outside, and the last bus wasn't running, and I've been out here potentially for a better part of an hour. Can you just at least open the door so I can get in the air conditioning, and I'll wait by the fare box while you secure her? Can you do that? Is that not too much to ask? Anyway, during the duration of that ride, there ended up being 2 more people that got picked up on wheelchairs, and then of course one of them got off. I think the other 2 are still on the bus. Anyway, yeah, that shit slows the bus down a lot. So that driver doing a hell of a job for considering that the bus before it wasn't running. I don't know how many people boarded at Central. It was pretty insane. That's definitely the biggest transfer point with the Route 17, since you've got the Route 0 there and also the Valley Metro Light Rail. And that's just an area where a lot of people just simply, that's where they start their trip or they end their trip. So, there was an insane amount of people that boarded. Like, the bus was kind of crowded when we got to Central, but it was like standing room only by the time we left Central. By the time we got to 79th Avenue, it thinned out quite a bit. But still, typical ride on Route 17. Very long, very tedious, very not comfortable, with a whole lot of stop and start. But props to the driver for in spite of all that he was up against. He was only 2 minutes late when he picked me up, and he was only about 8 minutes late when he dropped me off. And as I said, at one point he was about 13 minutes late, so he's recovered that late time before getting here to 79th Avenue. And I've been tracking all that with the Valley Metro app. Just kind of saying, well, when am I going to get there? Am I going to even make it to work on time today? Which is really lame, because I think I left my place at 4:15 or 4:20 in the afternoon, and here I am crossing the 79th Avenue Bridge at 6:40 in the evening. That's a long, difficult ride to work. So interestingly enough, I don't know if I mentioned, and Hope you all can hear me. There's a lot of wind up here. And of course, there's always a lot of traffic noise coming off of I-10. As I look down over the space where there was supposed to be light rail put in, and there's a large easement for light rail, but of course there will never ever be light rail because they did away with that easement just to the east of here. Yeah, I'm even on an overpass that's specifically for light rail between these two ramps here. But yeah, future light rail, that's never going to be built. But as you can see up ahead, that easement ends because they decided, nah, fuck public transit. We just need more space for more lanes, for more freeway. When ADOT did the intersection for the Loop 202 southbound. And don't get me wrong, I thoroughly appreciate the Loop 202 southbound, but yeah, eliminating that light rail, future light rail easement was something that should have never happened. Well, this is shitty. This has changed since I've been here. There's a couch. There's a couch blocking the sidewalk. Pretty cool looking skateboard here. Dang. Snag that skateboard if I had somewhere to put it, and some kind of keyboard. Evolution MK249C2. Never heard of Evolution. It's probably a cheapie. So it's been quite a bit since I've been here. So ADOT has patched up the hole. It used to be at the end of the walkway. It used to be really easy to get off here. Oh, son of a bitch. Yeah, these are definitely new poles because it's got like that's reflective and that's new. That wasn't there when this was my regular walk commute. Although it's the same chain link here because I recognize the graffiti on the ZOK on the thing that says state property, no trespassing. That's been there. So just the poles are new. The chain link is old. Obviously some new chain link there, blocking the end of that sidewalk where it used to be the easiest to get through. Several bags of tortilla chips and other carb. What the hell? Wow, there's like several unopened bags of tortilla chips in that stolen shopping cart. Whoop, I'm blocking my lens again. That stolen shopping cart, another stolen shopping cart from Big Lots here. So apparently somebody got a whole bunch of chips. Oh, that's weird. I don't think I'm snagging any of them though. But hey, at least there's a nice big hole in the chain link on this side. So as long as I can get through without any crazy climbing on one side, I'm good to get to work. Although this little hole here is a little sketchy. Wow, a cup from In-N-Out Burger. I don't think there's an In-N-Out Burger anywhere near here. Two more stolen shopping carts. I wonder what those little dangly things are hanging off of them. Those both from Lowe's. Probably the Lowe's over there off 75th and McDowell. Kind of funny how they patched that hole that was cut in there with shiny or chain link. At what point is ADOT going to realize that patching this fence and that fence is not the solution to what is clearly a much needed desire path that people need to walk on to get to work? When are they going to realize that and finish and connect that roadway, which cost a small fortune in taxpayer dollars, to this roadway that cost notably less in taxpayer dollars, and just pave this little stretch here that plenty of truckers use as a place to park while they're waiting for an available dock at either Amazon or PetSmart. I think Target's got a warehouse near here as well. I've heard that's where a lot of my coworkers have disappeared to, that they've taken jobs at Target because Target pays better. But I've also had one of the other forklift operators that I work with, who I sometimes refer to as the mummy, because she doesn't just wear a face mask. She wraps her whole head up like a mummy and then wears these kind of odd-looking glasses and wraps everything but the glasses, so you absolutely can't see her. She looks like a freaking mummy. But yeah, for the most part, she's a nice person. She's certainly an interesting character. I actually met her on the bus, riding on the 17 westbound, going home from working at Amazon. Met her there, and she was also coming off work at Amazon, although she didn't know to go over to 79th Avenue. She had walked up 83rd Avenue. Didn't know that it was possible to cross over the bridge like I just did, which is shorter, it saves time, and there's a lot less fentanyl junkies going this route as well. And it's a lot less sketcy now that they've gotten rid of this homeless encampment here on 79th Avenue as well. Although there's been some trash left behind, as you can see. More stuff that the hoarder in me wants to pick up. There's a TV. I can see the screen's kind of foobarred already. Insignia, yeah, it's a shitty TV to begin with, but I don't know. I'm pretty good at parting those things out. Like I know I have some old TVs that have bad power supplies that are otherwise probably working TVs, and the odds of that having a power supply that's compatible that can be replaced, used as a replacement on those other TVs is pretty good. But anyway, that's God knows I don't need any more electronics projects right now, and I have no way to carry that TV with my car in the shop. So anyway, what was I going to say about the mummy? Did I say something about the mummy? Oh yeah. So the first time I had like kind of a long talk with her as we were riding the 17, because we were riding it westbound. I don't think she got off till like, oh gosh, 27th Avenue, 19th Avenue, somewhere thereabouts. And granted, I was, of course, riding it all the way to 48th Street. I got a long, long ride. Interestingly, I don't know if I've ever mentioned it, but there's another guy that works the same shift as me on Amazon that rides the 17 home, who also gets off at 48th Street. So when him and I ride together, we are actually taking that full ride. Initially, I met him, and the same thing. He had got on the bus at 83rd Avenue, and I got on there at 79th, and then we started chatting. And I'm like, that's a lot shorter walk to the bus stop at 79th. And when you're waiting for the bus, you don't have to deal with, all the loitering homeless fentanyl junkies while you're waiting. He's like, wait, what? How do you get across there? And I showed him on the map. And I think he's pretty much done that ever since. Because, I rode home with him last, oh gosh, I want to say Thursday morning? Thursday morning I rode the 17 home and rode with that guy, and we chatted about half the ride. In fact, that was the morning I didn't ride the rapid bus because I didn't have the $225 and change for my portion of the fare, which exceeds the, what I get. Because there's that additional fare because it's an express bus on top of, what I get for swiping my bus card. And he offered to give it to me, like he handed me $225 in quarters, and he's like, it's still sitting there. I'm like, it won't wait by the time we get there. And we both kind of went running from the McDowell Road stop to the park and ride, and sure as shit, it drove off like as we were a little over halfway there. But kind of told him so. But oh well, whatever. We had a good ride on the 17 together and chatted and kind of caught up. He told me where he works in the building, and damned if I can remember. I think he said he worked in Decant. I'm not sure though. Maybe he worked in UIS. I'm not sure. One of those big areas in the middle of the west side of the building that I just never really go to unless I'm going someplace I don't go very frequently and I'm just walking through. Anyway, let's see. I was going to say something about the mummy, and now I don't remember what it was. Oh, yeah. So, the one time I was riding with her before I ever actually worked alongside her, which happens from time to time since she's also a pit driver now. Her and I went through pit training together. For her, it was retraining. For me, it was my first training in a class of 4. So I forget who. There were 2 other people in that class. One of them, I know he had an incident where somebody from safety or some manager had to stick up his ass. Saw him dump a pile of totes, which is something I've done myself more than a couple times. But the wrong person saw him do it, and they decided he wasn't worthy of being a pit driver anymore, which to me is pretty whacked. I'm a big believer in no harm, no foul, and you're not hurting anything by dumping totes. They're pretty damn indestructible. And there's so many easy ways for them to get knocked over off your forks where it's really not your fault as an operator. If anything, it's the fault of Amazon for not setting the standard, how high they're stacked in accordance with the trailers and stuff, not having adequate clearance to get them out of the trailers to where it can be done without it being so difficult and so much risk for the forklift driver. Anyway, what she had told me, the mummy had told me, she was in that class as well. I don't remember who the third guy was. If I saw him in the building, I wouldn't even remember him at this point. But anyway, I do see the mummy on a semi-regular occasion, and she told me that she actually did work for quite some time at Target, and that it was absolutely awful. She's like, yeah, the pay is better, but when you need a day off for something personal, you can't get it, and just saying that the scheduling and stuff is just very difficult to deal with. And for the most part, I found that pretty damn convenient at Amazon. I mean, I did have the issue where they were trying to force a mandatory overtime day on me, which they were making it sound like it was going to be an ongoing thing, and it ended up just being like one day. And yeah, certainly when that happened, and it ended up being on Thursday night, which of course I can't work a Thursday night because I have my show at Bullock's, which is not something I can have somebody else do. And when I tried to get them to, it's like, hey, can you shuffle I realized that on my schedule of front half overnights that this is what you've designated as the mandatory, what they've designated as the mandatory overnight day or overtime day, but can you just reassign mine in particular to Saturdays? Because I'm certainly down to work Saturdays. I've been working several Saturdays lately whenever it's available on A to Z as an extra shift, and they're like, oh no, you need to put in for a different shift. No, I don't need a different shift. I just need this mandatory overtime day that I never ever signed up for to be put on a different day. I would not have signed up for the schedule if it included Thursday nights, because I have a prior obligation on Thursday nights. And then I got the lecture of, oh, well, when you sign up for Amazon, and this is supposed to be our primary job and focus and blah, blah. No, this isn't my life. This is my fucking job, bitch. Anyway, but things like this are why Amazon has such high turnover. That just kind of is what it is. But anyway, and of course that stressed me out. It ended up being like misplaced stress because I was able to use the shift swap feature in A to Z app, and somebody else swapped shifts with me within an hour, like literally less than an hour. And I ended up getting swapped out with like the following Friday, or maybe the next Friday, which of course was completely fine. I was certainly down to work a Friday or a Saturday. Anyway, latest info on my car. I don't know if I mentioned that in any of the other videos so far today. I did call Rob right before I headed out. Before it was too late to make, just to find out, hey, am I coming to your place to get my car, or am I heading out for the bus? Because potentially I need to leave this early if I'm going to get on the bus with all the problems I have with the bus on Sundays. And he's like, yeah, hopefully tomorrow. He said the junkyard gave him the wrong harness, which honestly that seems pretty plausible. I mean, sometimes it feels like Rob's just making excuses with me, but that seems pretty plausible. I've had some pretty bad experiences with getting parts at junkyard where they pulled the parts and it wasn't exactly from the car that they said it was, or for the car, it wasn't the part that I needed. I've just kind of found, unless I pull my own parts, and that's something I don't expect Rob has time to do, the chance of getting the wrong part from a junkyard is always pretty high. But I'm glad he's on it, and hopefully I'll get my car back tomorrow, and this stint of bus riding can come to an end. Anyway, thanks for coming with me on the walk.